For immunity-related CPG products to unlock one small step for categorical growth, it will likely need to take one giant leap towards emotive storytelling. It was once famously said that life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And that is certainly true regarding how the Great Shutdown era impacted American society. But while much of that story is still being written several years later, we can be quite confident that the way people approach their personal health and wellness will never quite be the same again. As an example, occasion based vitamin supplements thrived as consumers invested in certain condition specific products seen as more beneficial when battling against great shutdown paradigm shifts. And arguably the most prominent activity that year involved immune health, with the Nutrition Business Journal reporting a retail sales spike of over 70% year over year in 2020 as cold, flu, and immunity supplements experienced something like $2 billion dollars in additional categorical demand. But after that skyrocketing commercial activity, the cold, flu, and immunity VMS category has experienced several years straight of consistent mid single digits year over year retail sales decline. Additionally, household penetration for immunity related VMS products have dipped by over 5 percentage points since 2020. So then, should we assume that immune health is no longer a high priority for consumers? Not exactly, as it seems, even despite that decline in commercial activity, various consumer surveys throughout 2024 have noted that immune health remains an important motivating factor for supplement use. Moreover, survey findings show that a quarter of US consumers are increasing their use of supplements to boost immunity, with approximately 1 in 6 regularly taking an immune health supplement. So, what's going on within the immunity related CPG space? Are the last several years of negative categorical growth indicative of its outlook, or is the future ripe with market opportunities? And I'll attempt to tackle everything as concisely as possible, but let's start with examining a few underlying drivers of demand. The initial behavioral shift I wanted to highlight harkens back to something I mentioned earlier, that the Great Shutdown era changed how consumers approach immune health. And I believe that occurred in two fundamentally impactful ways, with the first being that cold, flu, and immunity VMS products transformed from a seasonality fueled, oftentimes reactive $3.4 billion CPG subcategory to now an approximately $5 billion constant year long health condition pursuit. Also, many consumers during the Great Shutdown era developed a more holistic view of immune health, understanding that the immunity needs are multidimensional. And while that elongated, proactive, and or interlinked approach to prioritizing immune health is certainly encouraging for the immunity-related CPG product space overall, it does bring up a few additional consumer budgetary considerations when paired with the recent inflationary pricing environment. As a simple example to help you visualize what I'm alluding to, even without accounting for price inflation, purchasing $25 worth of immunity related CPG products every month the entire year is obviously more costly than when doing so for only 3 to 4 months, say during the winter season, right? Then consider if your more holistic view of immunity needs influences additional condition specific product purchases in areas like digestive health or mood support. Now, let's toss in the last few years worth of price inflation. And oh, by the way, don't overlook the fact that the price per volume of immunity products is several times higher on average than that of regular vitamin supplements. So, with consumers becoming more educated about their personal health and wellness, but also being faced with tighter wallets, simplification has gained prominence once again. And that could be defined by consumers seeking out value oriented, multifunctional products that either could prioritize immunity, aka Immune Health Plus, or include immunity supporting ingredients within a broader formulation. But also, don't overlook that it could suggest convenience with time savings created by ingesting multifunctional products. And then the final underlying driver demand I wanted to examine surrounds the influence of fear when purchasing immunity related CPG products. Fear is an emotional response to perceived threats, evolved as a survival mechanism. And fear can manifest itself in many ways, including concerns over not being able to stay healthy in the face of the deadly virus. During the Great Shutdown era, all those fears prompted consumers to take action by initially purchasing anything they could get their hands on that even vaguely mentioned supporting immune health, in hopes of mitigating any perceived threats. But eventually, a consumer becomes so accustomed to repeated fear inducing communications that it results in desensitization to those stimuli. Moreover, it leads to reduced influence on purchasing decisions. So, with the CDC expecting that the 2024-2025 fall and winter virus season to have a similar or lower number of combined peak hospitalizations compared to last season, and fear based purchasing and consumer eagerness to find instant health solutions mostly subsided now, what can push the immunity related CPG product space forward? First off, I'm a huge believer that change is an opportunity for growth, innovation, and positive transformation. In any marketplace going through a cycle of slow retraction after a recent period of intense expansion is experiencing the type of change that could breed strong commercial opportunities. But those financial rewards are only available to those functional CPG brands with the willingness to adapt. And since we're talking about consumer packaged goods, let's start by briefly explaining where I see the product opportunities emerging within the immune health space. According to a recent Innova Market Insights report, it suggested that immune health is still the leading health claim in recent supplement launches, with about 30% of all new immunity products being launched within the US market. But while I noted those new product development statistics to highlight the elevated level of market competition, that alone certainly shouldn't dissuade any functional CPG entrepreneur. If it did, though, give you even a pinch of self doubt, I'm going to be super frank here and say you're definitely not cut out for the emerging and intersecting CPG categories of functional foods, functional beverages, and nutritional supplements. And maybe that's a good place to start because I do believe format plays an important role within the immunity related CPG product opportunity. Even before the Great Shutdown era, most subcategories of functional foods and functional beverages had strong compounded annual growth rates, but that time frame certainly helped catapult those products towards a larger focus in the consumer's mind. So, with consumers moving closer towards this four-way intersection of taste, convenience, nutrition, and functionality, it seems every multi-billion-dollar food and beverage CPG category is in the early innings of a remarkable transformation. And I believe penetrating mainstream all-American categories like soda or cereal that are consumed daily will be one of the key elements that can unlock immunity-related CPG product opportunities. Additionally, consumers having a better understanding that the immune system is linked to other important areas of health will be another key element to potentially unlocking immunity-related CPG product opportunities. Armed with that more holistic view of immune health, consumers will increasingly seek out products with multifunctional benefits. And I believe that will be especially true within traditional supplement formats. So I'd expect more immune boosting ingredients to be included within various product intersections for supporting stress reduction, mood enhancement, relaxation, and assisting in sleep quality. Moreover, many of these multifunctional products would be best suited in leveraging trendy adaptogenic botanicals like ashwagandha or essential minerals like magnesium in certain forms like threonate. But also, we can't talk about unlocking immunity related CPG product opportunities without discussing the gut immune axis. Did you know that nearly all of our internal systems are influenced by the gut, including the immune system? With the gut containing an estimated 70% of the body's immune cells, supporting a healthy gut microbiome can have positive downstream effects on immunity. And while the bulk of attention usually surrounds probiotics and prebiotics, which are currently more familiar to consumers, I've been paying close attention to another gut immune axis ingredient group for the last several years. In fact, during the Q&A portion after my Probiota Americas keynote presentation in 2021, I was asked about the commercial outlook for postbiotics. And while I acknowledge that the lack of mainstream consumer knowledge, comparatively speaking, would require additional education hurdles to be accounted for, I believed formulation versatility, mainly heat stability and long shelf life without refrigeration, would best position postbiotics to take advantage of the growing demand for functional foods and functional beverages. Similarly, when I was talking to Gerard Adams, president and CEO of Kiwahako USA, a segment of Kieran Holdings, in September of 2023, he mentioned a huge recent partnership with Kellogg's Japan, leveraging their cutting edge postbiotic Amuse within all brand cereal.
We're seeing it in Japan. Kieran and Kyoa just launched a product with Kellogg's with the Amuse product in an all brand formulation. So that's a cereal, meal application of a functional. So when I see things like that, that points to a big opportunity, and I am looking to put more focus on that. And we just see so much upside in Amuse, and now that we've learned what the post-pandemic landscape is probably looking like, and the emphasis not so much on the immunity aspect of it, but more on the healthy, active lifestyle. And what I said before, right? Me taking that product allows me to be talking to you today and be operating it at full capacity for more days without going down with illness. It's that kind of thing, right? So that appeals again, just like Cognizant appeals to a lot of people because you can operate mentally at that performance for longer and for more days. Amuse keeps you in the game.
But within that clip, you might have recognized that Gerard also mentioned something that brings me back to my introductory statement. An often overlooked strategic element when it comes to the immunity related CPG market is that too many companies focus on dry product benefits when the opportunity is really in emotive storytelling that makes offerings more relatable and tangible. As I mentioned earlier, fear was a huge motivator behind the recent demand spike in immunity related CPG products, but this type of storytelling can actually leverage that same emotional response, but I'm going to suggest in a more ethical manner than what happened during the Great Shutdown era. So instead of targeting consumers that were concerned over not being able to stay healthy in the face of the deadly virus, my strategic recommendation would be that more emotive storytelling should focus on what a consumer would miss by getting or currently being sick. As an example, young adults maybe not wanting to miss an important social event with friends, or grandparents not being able to travel and missing the opportunity to see their first grandchild being born. Regardless, everyone has certain events or triggers that seem to heighten the awareness around the importance of immune health. Because even if I personally don't have much FOMO in a traditional sense, my fear of missing out, emotional motivation could be triggered around depictions of not being able to consistently show up at my best day in and day out for those that need me most. But by suggesting that functional CPG brands need to leverage emotive storytelling more often, I'm not saying that they should totally abandon a combination of one, investing in consumer education, two, increasing transparency, and three, utilizing clinically researched branded ingredients. I'm just stating that you shouldn't overlook that consumers, especially millennials, often purchase products not only for what they do, but also for what they mean. But I hope you enjoyed the first principles thinking that went into my latest YouTube video. If you did, can you do me a favor by hitting that like button? That quick and free action helps YouTube know my content is worth spreading to more people. Also, we're getting really close to reaching my next subscriber goal, and it would be great if you join me on this journey. But to do that, we need to fix the fact that slightly more than 3/4 of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and that hurts my feelings. Regardless, I want to thank you for giving me some of your attention and time, and I'll see you on the next one.